Hello, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Today I'm finally getting around to trying out this Izzet Spellementals deck that popped up in a tournament a number of weeks ago at this point. It did very well in that event, but I want to find out how well it translates to the best of one standard ladder. As usual, I'm going to talk a little bit about the deck and then hop into some games to see how it actually performs, but I'd like to ask for your support. Please sub up if you haven't done so already, and more importantly, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this Spellementals deck. So this whole deck is basically built around these three cards right here. We got Sunderflock, Eddy Crab, and Hearth Elemental. Hearth Elemental and Eddy Crab are both going to get discounts based on the number of sorceries and instances in our graveyard. So the whole idea is that we're going to be able to put either the Hearth Elemental out for 1 red mana or the Eddy Crab out for 2 blue mana. Then Sunderflock is going to get another discount. This one says this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest mana value among elementals you control. The Hearth Elemental is a 6 CMC elemental that's going to reduce our Sunderflock down to a 3 CMC spell, or Eddy Crab is a 7 CMC elemental, which is going to reduce the Sunderflock down to a 2 blue elemental. Going to be pretty powerful. When the Sunderflock hits the field, it is going to return all non-elementals creatures to their owner's hand. So basically it's a one-sided board wipe because our Hearth Elemental and our Eddy Crab are both going to be able to stay on the field. Eddy Crab also has the ability to be flashed in because it has flash, and then when it enters the battlefield, tap up to 2 target creatures. However, this creature does enter tapped if it is not your turn, so we can't flash it in to block something the opponent is doing or attacking with. Then the rest of the deck is basically drawing spells, interacting with the spells, or removing the opponent's creatures. We got Opt, Sleight of Hand, and Abandoned Attachments, and Winter Night Stories, which I'm going to come back to in a second. These are all card draw spells. Burst Lightning, Seer, Pyroclasm, and Ill-Timed Explosion are all removal spells. Then we have a little bit of Counter Magic, Spell Snare to take out 2 CMC spells that the opponent cast out, and then Detect Intrusion for Kavaro or board wipes, I'm sure. Now, I said I wanted to talk a little bit about Winter Night Stories. This is a card that I'm not very sure in the deck. Everything else in the deck looks very fine. All the decks are playing Winter Night Stories, but I have a little bit of a problem with this one. It's draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. Of course, I think the whole idea behind this is that we don't mind discarding 2 cards. We want to be filling our graveyard up with lots of instant and sorcery speed spells so that our elementals get discounted. But there's something that feels a little bit bad about the Winter Night Story. So this is one I'm going to try to find out whether or not it plays well or if it feels a little bit awkward. I'm sure it's fine, but this is the one card in the deck that I have a little bit of a reservation about. Otherwise, that is the deck. Everything looks solid. We're going to hop into some games and see how well it performs. See you over there. All right, time for some Izzet Spellementals. I've been waiting to play this deck for actually quite a while. Opening hand, hey, it looks pretty good. We have one of our creatures, only 12 creatures in the deck, a little bit light on creatures. So we got to push all of the creatures that we end up finding on the top part of our deck to their limit. But this hand looks good. We have some removal if we need it. Seer, going to be good to take out a big creature. I'm very surprised to see Seer making the deck. I haven't seen it too much in the meta so far. Here, I think we're just going to take the island, play it nice and safe, and see what the opponent is up to. I don't know what one concealed courtyard is going to mean. Multiversal passage. Okay, opponent, you have my interest peaked, but I have really no idea what you're doing. And we don't have a whole lot of action until next turn when we can go out with the Winter Night Stories. Hopefully pitch a few sorcery instant speed spells into the graveyard so our Eddy Crab gets a little bit of discount. Fountain Port could mean that they are on a tokens style deck. Yeah. This is going to be hard to remove. This is going to be making 1/1 Kithkins every turn, and oh boy, no, what am I saying is hard to remove? Seer hits Planeswalkers. There you go. I'm an idiot. All right, let's go out with the Winter Night Stories, see what we draw. We find a lot of creatures, but I still feel like I want to maybe put the Detect Intrusion and the Burst Lightning into the graveyard. And then next turn, we can probably get out some of our big stuff. So let's decline that. And although it feels bad to do that, I think that's the idea behind the deck. So now our Eddy Crab is 2. Our Hearth Elemental is 1, and our Sunderflock can come down nice and cheap. The opponent could potentially have a board wipe for us. So is it better to go Hearth Elemental into the Winter Night Stories from our exile to draw a few more cards and then flash in the Eddymer Crab? I think that's probably a good way to go. Yep. Okay. The deck, I see a lot of the power behind it, and boy, oh boy, can it put out a lot of power suddenly. But my reservation comes from the fact that we only have 12 creatures in the deck, but we are digging so deep with all of these card draw spells. Opponent did miss their 4th land drop. Get lost on the Hearth Elemental. Not the biggest problem for us. Actually, what is maybe a bigger problem is that I removed one of my sorcery speed spells from the graveyard. So I'm going to... So if I decline, yeah, I can throw away one of these islands. Do I want to get rid of the Spire Bluff? It doesn't matter, does it? No, we'll do that. And then we'll play out the island, and now we can still flash in the Eddymer Crab next turn. Then we can Sunderflock and develop quite a board. I don't expect a board wipe from the opponent. I could have tapped down that 1/1. I don't think it really matters. I suppose it could have been a better play. But maybe it wasn't important, and just seeing if they use this mana might have been better in the end. Okie dokie. So Sunderflock to the field and hope that they don't have some kind of board wipe for us, because we got rid of our Detect Intrusion. We only have one more Detect Intrusion in the deck. Boom. So let's attack in for 5. Nice and clean. And I think I am going to go sleight of hand here to try to find some kind of interaction, but we didn't find anything. So if that's the case, probably what I'm going to do now is load up these 2 creatures. Hearth Elemental, fine. And the Hearth Elemental also has that awesome ability, Stroke Genius. Oh, Stoke Genius. Discard your hand, then draw 2 cards. So we might end up doing that before we end up putting the Elemental onto the field, because our hand is looking a little sus. Okay. What does Kaya Spirit's Justice do? Exile, surveil 2, then exile a card from your graveyard. Whenever one or more creatures you control and or creature cards in your graveyard are put into exile, you may choose a creature card from among them until end of turn. Target token you control becomes a copy of it, except it has flying. That's a lot of words. That was a lot of words. So let's just remove Kaya. Our position is so good, right? So I think it's probably fine just to hold on to these 2, just in case a disaster ends up happening. If they try to put out some blockers, we can go out with the Sunderflock, bounce everything, and then swing in with our 12 damage that's on the field. If they wipe the board, we can start rebuilding. A little bit awkward with the Hearth Elemental and the Sunderflock in hand, though, because I can't really do the Stoke Genius. I'm never not going to see Stroke Genius now. I guess I just put that into the world. Okay, they do have the Ultima. Boom, boom. So we should have expected that. We kind of did expect that. So let's not use the Stoke Genius. Instead, we'll just develop the board. And I probably should be holding on to my lands at this point, because I want cards that I need to discard. I have so much mana right now that I don't think I need to be concerned with putting lands onto the field. Okay. So is it... We might get board wiped again, which I'm a little bit worried about. Is it better for me to do the ill-timed explosion, discard 2 cards, wipe the board, and then go? Or is it just Sunderflock? You know what? It's just going to be Sunderflock one more time. Boom. Bye-bye. And I think I want to just attack straight at the face. This, though, does give them a chance to look at cards. You know, I'm changing my mind, because if they get to look at the top 2 cards of their library, it's possible that they could end up finding another Ultima. We have to assume now that they probably have Ultimas and Day of Judgments at disposal. And Rise of Sozin. Uh-oh. So the problem here now is that we're running out of... Hang on. Choose a card name. Search your opponent's... Search target opponent's graveyard hand for up to 4 cards with that name and exile them. So... What a weird position. I think I have to put out the Edinburgh Crab and the Sunderflock now, because the odds of the opponent... I think the opponent probably knows what I'm up to with this deck, and they are going to remove the Sunderflock or the Edinburgh Crab. I'm almost certain that they would have named those cards. We have 2 Earth Elementals in there. They could have named that Earth Elemental, but I think they probably would have named the Edinburgh Crab or the Sunderflock. So we'll see if this ends up being the right play, but oh man, when you only have 12 threats in the deck and you go up against a person that is going to chain Ultima and then Rise of Sozin and then potentially other nasty things, we might actually be relying on the Burst Lightnings. What? Ill-timed explosion? How did they know? That's crazy. And this doesn't replace my ill-timed explosion? Am I being stream sniped without streaming? There's no way. Okay, Caretaker's Talent. They can still make a creature with the Fountain Port. So if we end up finding a Burst Lightning or something off... Okay. So we attack in. We probably stole a win here. They pay 1 life. It's fine. They make that. They draw a card, but they're out of mana. And I think I'm going to give the win to my Elementals. They worked very hard. I could have kicked the Burst Lightning, but more important, just to squeeze that damage in. In this matchup, considering what we got hit by, I think the Elementals performed pretty dang well for game number 1, right? Okay, No Name is up next. Let's see if we can get a similarly good performance from the Elementals. Whew. Okay, yeah, this looks good. Hopefully these Detect Intrusion... This card, it's such a good card. I don't know if I've ever actually used it to any effect. I'm sure I've used it a few times here and there, but it just feels like one of those cards that I know I want to put into my decks, but I never use it for anything. Okay. If we are, in fact, up against the Badger Mole Cub deck, we can do a lot of nasty stuff. I think what I'm going to do is opt over the Burst Lightning. Yeah, we'll keep a land. We need to find a few. Okay, no, not that many. But I do think what I'm going to do is try to slow the opponent's roll ever so slightly. Put another sorcery or instant into the graveyard and try to get this Hearth Elemental down. I have a feeling Detect Intrusion, not great in this matchup. Edinburgh Crab is going to be good. Oh, man. Actually, a little bit awkward, right? This thing needs to hit something right now. I kind of want to just, like, fire it off against base... Okay. Hello. Hello. Okay. We're going to put the Hearth Elemental onto the field. When this is in the graveyard, does this count as a sorcery? It should, right? It should be a sorcery / creature. There's a Fenrir. Okay. I did not expect this from the opponent at all. We really need a Sunderflock here. Or them attacking with the Hulking Raptor would have been okay there. Winter Night Stories. You got to fire it off, I think. Okay. Ooh. Good cards. So we want to decline, and I think we want to put probably both of these cards into the graveyard because I don't think they're going to be helping me at all in this matchup. And then I could put the other Hearth Elemental onto the field to get another blocker, but you know what? This is going to find me a land. Sleight of hand to find... Okay. Okay, we'll grab the Seer. And we just got to hope that the Hearth Elemental survives. Even if it doesn't, though, next turn, we can put the Edinburgh Crab and the Sunderflock onto the field and undo all the opponent's work. I don't really want to be giving them... Whoa. Okay. I don't want to give them the summon Fenrir stuff again, but it is fine. Yeah, and we're just gonna, I mean, we gotta bounce everything. You know what would be nice is another, is it actually just the Sunderflock? I think it is. So here's my thinking. I'm gonna Sunderflock. They're gonna put more stuff out onto the field, and then next turn I can Eddy Merc Crab. Oh, do I think I also Winter Night Stories here with the Sunderflock. Try to find another land. This might backfire on me. Okay, we do find it. And what do I want to put into the graveyard? Probably, I could pitch the Hearth Elemental. It's not really doing too much to me. I don't think I need it this time around, but do I really need... No, you know what? We're going to pitch this, and we're going to pitch the Sleight of Hand. That's fine. Did I already play? Oh, no. I already played my... It's fine. I already played a land. I thought I had a land drop to make. So the plan in my head was that I was going to be able to put the River Pyre onto the field and then flash in the Eddy Merc Crab. But it doesn't really matter. What we need to find is actually a Burst Lightning. Burst Lightning, seemingly integral to this deck. 2, 4, 6 mana from the opponent. There's a Hulking Raptor one more time. That means that they're going to be able to get the Galta down next turn. But we're just going to have to make sure they die before then. Oh, wow, okay. I could also ill-timed Explosion. I actually don't mind the ill-timed Explosion here. But what do I pitch? I might actually hurt myself there. It might be just too risky. So is it better just to... It's so lame, but it's just better to do this, right? Yeah, okay. Wow, Sunderflock is an absolutely devastating card. I feel like I had so many different lines that I could have taken there to get a win. Nice to see an actual dinosaur deck, though. Good job, No Name. Torment Vinny. Our third opponent. So far, things going okay. Hand looks good. You know what? It's kind of nice to be playing a deck that you know you're going to be drawing a ton of cards, so you can kind of keep a slightly more questionable... What? Look at that land. Oh, we're going to go back to that. You can keep a slightly more questionable hand. Abandoned Attachment's actually not too bad, right? Next turn, I can do that and pitch the Winter Night Story. Yeah, actually, that's fine. Again, back to that. What is this land? Man, there's so many good cosmetics in this game, and I don't know where so many of them come from. Okay, Abandoned Attachments. We're going to be putting 2 more cards into the graveyard, getting our Eddy Mercs down ever so slightly more, hitting our lands, and I guess I run out a Hearth Elemental. It's very likely that we are against a deck that's packing a ton of Bitter Triumphs and whatnot. But you know what the Elementals deck, Spellementals, gets around is the Requiting Hex. Requiting Hex, not... Yikes. Okay, you know what card's really good against us? That card right there. I think I actually have to keep the Detect Intrusion in hand. How good are these Burst Lightnings going to be? And I also think I need to keep my Eddy Merc Crabs around because I have a feeling we're going to be running into a lot of removal. So we're definitely getting rid of the Pyroclasm. Let's get rid of 1 Burst Lightning. Put 3 more spells into the graveyard. And if we get hit again, that's bad news. This does not exile, does it? What we can do is we can flash in the Eddy Merc Crab and tap down the Unstoppable Slasher. At the very least, that's the plan. So they pass to combat, flash in our boy here. They could still load up the Soulstone Sanctuary, I suppose. I'd be kind of okay with that. And we got the Core coming down. Core plus Shoot the Sheriff. So we might have run into a pretty nasty situation here. Again, I can go Eddy Merc Crab. I kind of need to find... I need to find the Sunderflock to get rid of this Unstoppable Slasher from being annoying. Detect Intrusion can get instant sorcery and triggered abilities. So if we get hit by the Unholy Annex here, it's just going to hurt. So I guess it's probably just Eddie Merc Crab one more time. They go to combat. Okay, we also need to find, like, the Winter Night Stories, very good. I want to be able to tap my Eddie Merc Crab to be able to cast it out, but if they keep finding removal for us, for these poor crabs, boy oh boy. And I also think I need to make sure that I have the Burst Lightning, not Burst Lightning, sorry, the Detect Intrusion available for future, I don't know if this is right or not, but for future strategic betrayals, because I gotta keep the graveyard somewhat full. Okay. Winter Night Stories, number 1. Eddie Merc Crab, you get tapped. Spell Snare, not great. Ill-Timed Explosion, also not overly great. I can use it to hit the Unstoppable Slasher, but I don't think that's what I want to be doing here. Okay, and we didn't hit a land, which is the big problem. Am I getting hit by the Unstoppable Slasher this time around? It might be the case. I feel like I'm just digging. Okay, Sunderflock. Sunderflock is good. We decline and we pitch. No land. No land. Absolutely devastating. So now this is the moment where our opponent can actually really hurt us if they find another strategic betrayal. Okay. Maybe it was grabbing the Sunderflock there. We're going to get hit this time. We die. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we don't die. We don't die. We survive. Oh, okay. Ill-timed explosion, not so bad, right? And then I can pitch at the very least Seer and Winter Night Stories. Let's get rid of Winter Night Stories and Abandoned Attachments. Okay. Wait, what? Oh, no. I'm so bad. Okay. You know, I know. I'll explain. I will explain. Okay, now I put myself in a position. What I thought Ill-Timed Explosion did was the combined CMC of the spells that you put away. So please use this as a learning tool. This learning tool to help you understand that, in fact, it is not the combined. Is there a point in tapping it down? I don't think so. Not the combined power of the cards that you're discarding, but rather the highest cost. And reading the card tells us that the greatest mana value among cards discarded this way. I'm sure some of you were watching that disaster happen. Yeah, I did not deserve to get a win there. I bungled that one up so badly. But hey, those are the growing pains that we have to go through when we have a somewhat new deck to play. Man, it sucks to suck on camera to get caught live. It's fine. It's fine. We will redeem ourselves with the new knowledge that we have just gained over how to play Ill-Timed Explosion. We'll grab the Eddie Merc Crab this time around and see what we're up against. Is it, again, mono black control? I hope not. Unholy Annex stock has gone so far up thanks to Furdock Core. Okay. These all look fine to me. We'll hold up the Spell Snare and the Opt, and we'll just see if we can get something here. It is the Furdock Core, though. Yeah, everybody loves this card. This card with the Seer. How do I feel about Seer? Probably not good enough. Everybody loves that with the core, with the Annex, right? So, play this out, and then I guess it's flash in the Eddie Merc Crab. Seems to be probably the best way to go here. If they end up putting out just an Unholy Annex, I'm not too concerned about that. What I'm more concerned about is them holding up 2 mana. because 2 mana could mean Bitter Triumph. It could mean, I mean, any number of things. But it could also mean that they just want to use the Mazemind Tome to draw. And since, okay, that's good. Now we are in a good position because I can hold up the Detect Intrusion. Do I want to run out the Hearth Elemental or the Sunderflock? Probably not. I don't hate this. We hold this. We'll see. Put 9 power on the board just to put a little bit of a clock, and they're going to start drawing some cards with the Mazemind Tome. Eventually, this will give them 4 life, something to be aware of. Deadly Cover-Up, we can, of course... I guess you just do this, right? Remembering that I can use the Inweb is kind of important. Okay. Hit them for 9, and now I gotta just hope that they don't have a follow-up. If they find another Deadly Cover-Up, we're going to be in pretty big trouble because this Sunderflock is going to have a hard time hitting the field. Dude, come on. Why do they always have 2? Man. That's brutal. Thank God for the Spell Snare. I think it was worth it to save it, because if we end up finding an Elemental, we can just put it out. Unfortunately, not the case. Let's use the Ill-Timed Explosion to draw some cards, though. So draw 2 cards. I may discard. I'm going to decline. So that's just an expensive draw spell, which I'm okay with. And we'll put the River Pyre onto the field. And I think it's Abandon Attachments next turn. If I had used the Sleight of Hand, I guess I could have found a Hearth Elemental. But I might have a really hard time getting this last 6 point of damage in on the opponent. 10 points of damage, actually. Let's get rid of the Steam Vents and find not these cards. Well, I think it's fine to go Hearth Elemental into Winter Night Stories. Maybe I should have done it the other way. I should have probably... Okay. Let's decline. And the Burst Lightnings are interesting here. They are going to draw a card. They also have the Fountain Ports to make chump blockers for quite a while. And because Mazemind Tome just does it, gain 4 life. I remember when this card first came out, I was so annoyed by it, because at that time I was playing a fair amount of Burn. It was just annoying that my opponent could just gain 4 life for doing nothing. Just incidental life gain tacked onto cards. Why not? Okay, Virtue of Persistence is good, because this means that they can start bringing... Well, I gotta read what it says. At the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So if this Hearth Elemental can make contact with the opponent, we are suddenly in a winning position. What? Okay, how much mana? 2, 4, 6, 7 mana. So this is a winning position now. You got to go for it, right? Oh, they can crack the... No, that's not a food. I looked over there and I thought it looked like a food to me. All right, just go for it. Devotion, do you have some way of staying alive? Oh, wow, what a battle. I don't want to see any more board wipes. Please, board wipes. Stay away from me. I can't handle it. All right, so far the deck's feeling good. 3-1. I feel like that one loss, though, I could have done a lot better. It could have been close to a win had I not been a complete bonehead. So, man, maybe there's really something to this deck. It definitely feels good. And considering that there are only 12 threats in the deck, we are getting them onto the field. They are kind of sticking and getting damage in. That was the thing that I was most apprehensive about when I look at this list and I see, oh, there are only 12 pretty big creatures. Yeah, big creatures, but there are only 12 of them. Is that really going to be enough? Because we don't have other ways of really doing damage to the opponent. I don't know, but it's working. Okay, we are against Kavaro, it has been such a long time since I've been against a Kavaro deck. They, with their Town Greeter, miss completely on finding a land. That's pretty wild. We do have the Detect Intrusion for future disasters, though, so that's good news. The thing here is that I don't actually have anything else I can really do. I need to find Winter Night Stories. I need to find Ops, Sleight of Hands, anything that can help me spin into more cards. Their graveyard, to Awaken the Honored Dead, and Formidable Speaker, Overlord of the Balemark, and they spin the Town Greeter one more time. They're putting 2 Ardens in this time, so their graveyard is nice and stocked up. What do you do here? The Sunderflock was such a bad draw. I think all I can do is take some Town Greeter lumps and go from there. Having a Sunderflock and then drawing 2 more, not where you want to be. I think when you're playing in an Elementals deck, Spellementals deck. Okay, Formidable Speaker, sure. They can pitch the, yep, there we go. Bringer of the Last Gift. Fun. And Kavaro, Mind Bitten, ready to hit the field next turn. So we know what we're doing. We really have only one choice. The thing is that choice is not even a super great one. Oh, they had the Cavernous Souls. They're gonna on Elemental. Why is it on Elemental? Okay, so now they're afraid that I have counter magic up for the Kavaro. We desperately need a land, and I don't know if I'm gonna be brave enough next turn. I think I have to do this, right? I can't just keep taking tons of damage. We're gonna find a land. We find a land. It is a bad land. Sure. 1 Sunderflock into the bin, or do I pitch the Winter Night Story and the Burst Lightning? I actually think Winter Night Story plus Burst Lightning might be a better way to go. Okay. And we have to take 2 damage here. We're going to take another 5 damage on the opponent's turn. We are playing with fire here. Oh, but I'm having fun. Having fun doing it. They are not brave enough to put out the Kavaro, which the position is really bad here because they have double Kavaro. That's fine. They only have 1 Bringer of the Last Gift in the graveyard. They go for it. When this... Okay, I have to do this. On this one, right? Okay, so we get to blank that. That gets exiled. Cool. And now we can put the Eddymer Crab onto the field and bounce everything. But we might still just die, right? I think I have to do this, though. And then we get to do Winter Night Stories, and hopefully this finds me maybe another Detect Intrusion for future things. Let's get rid of one of the Sunderflocks this time around. Amazingly bad draws on the lands. Finding all the Steam Vents when I'm at 6. Maybe I should have actually Steam Vented untapped for the Winter. Maybe not, though, because they do probably have an Arden for future things. But currently, they do not have another Bringer of the Last Gift in the graveyard. They have 3 mysterious cards. One of the bringers was the one was exiled by the last Kavaro that they put into the graveyard. They could go and grab an Arden, though, with the with our boy Kavaro, and then they can attack him with a 4/4. But a 4/4 doesn't get through our Sunderflock. And then we can bounce everything again. Okay. It's a Town Greeter. They're going to try to dig into the Bringer. Oh, okay. No Bringer. They could use the Formidable Speaker right now to go and get a Bringer, though. It's a Kavaro, so they're probably going to go the Arden route. Yeah. And with the Arden, they're going to grab... What are you grabbing? Sunderflock? Maybe. It is a Sunderflock. I like the play. Oh, it's a 5/5, not a 4/4. And it has menace. It is an elemental? No, it's a demon. Okay. Ow. Ow. Jiminy. Okay. Okay, it's fine. We bounce everything one more time. This time we can get in for 10 damage. And then we can hold up the Eddy Merc Crab. One of them. Only one. And we can tap down whatever they try to swing at us with next turn. They do have one more Arden. I'm so terrified. I guess we can also, if they try to go for the big boy, Bringer of the Last Gift, somehow they get that into the graveyard. They can. Oh, they can go Formidable Speaker into Kavaro. Oh, no. Formidable Speaker doesn't allow them to pitch it exactly. They would have to have it in hand. Okay, this... please don't hit. Okay, no bringer. I don't know if they played a land this turn. I think they didn't. Second Town Greeter. Come on. Pray. Yes! Oh, the opponent's whiffing so badly. Where are all the bringers of last gift? The opponent must be lamenting, like, where are they? Why can't I find them? They have to be feeling that way. Now, we only have... They might think that they can put out a land, do the Kavaro Arden thing one more time, because we're at 1 life. If they have a menace creature, they could potentially try to get in, but... Oh, boy. This is... Oh, it's so nerve-wracking. Okay, there's the land. So they didn't make that. Kavaro, here it is. Last-ditch effort from the opponent. Kavaro onto the field. They grab Arden one more time. Everybody knew that was going to happen. And then we can, of course, before they attack in, flash in the Eddy Merc Crab. So I think we get a win here. They grab... That doesn't hurt us, though, right? No, spells your opponent's cast that target this creature cost an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever this creature... Spells. This is not a spell. Right? We're fine. Oh, because it's an ability. Oh. Whoa. What a game. What a game, boys. It's so tight. They go to discards. I'm having some fun with this deck. Oh, I'm actually so like nervous playing it though. I feel like you're really living on the edge some of these times in some of these games. We get this Sunderflock one more time. Bye-bye, Kavaro. You have no power here. And we smack them for 20. Stabilizing at 1 life. It's so good. Oh, Lukes, are you gonna rope me? Are you gonna rope me at this moment? Oh. If the odds... Somebody watching this video, not a whole lot of people watch these videos, but if somebody watches this video and somebody knows who Lukes is, have a chat with Lukes. We don't need this on Magic Arena. We don't need people roping suddenly when they get blown out by a Sunderflock. Come on, be better. Be a bigger man than that. Okay, Luke's made me sit through 3 full ropes. But we get in with the crabs and the flock, taking down a very, very satisfying win against Kavaro. And I am actually pumped. That was so fun. Game number 6, running a little bit long here. I think we'll get 7 games in. I'll force it, no matter what. Ooh, oh my gosh. This has to be like one of the worst looking hands you could imagine, right? Throw it away. Oh, it's equally bad, right? In fact, I don't think I can even keep this hand. Okay. We'll keep this one, but goodness gracious, that is some rough running. That's rough, buddy. Okay. I guess we're gonna need our lands. Yeah. Opponent, we mulligan down, but it's okay. We have some good matchups. We just have to hope that this is one of those beneficial matches for us. The ill-timed explosion, now that I know how to use it, could come in handy, depending on what the opponent's on. Boros. Maybe not the best matchup for ill-timed explosion. In fact, it is a disaster. But we're still going to go with the Winter Night Stories. Draw a lot of creatures. So, because this is the case, Sunderflock, see ya. Real shame to have to throw away a Sunderflock, but we are against a weapon manufacturing deck. Sunderflock not going to be doing a whole lot. We are... You know what? I'm excited to see what the opponent's doing. Anytime you see a... Okay, now I'm just confused about what the opponent's doing. But we desperately need to opt into a land. It is a land. Unfortunate tapped land, but it is a land nonetheless. And we can't do anything except hold up this Detect Intrusion, which is not going to be useful. Next turn, at the very least, I get to do Hearth Elemental into a Winter Night Stories. I'm starting to see this Winter Night Stories definitely growing on me more and more now. I see the value in being able to throw away anything you want. We're seeing tons of cards with it. Yeah, it's good. We definitely need now a Seer off the top. A Johnny... A little bit soft to Seer. Maybe I should have fired off the... Maybe I should have fired off the Detect Intrusion there to stop the Caretaker's Talent draw. I know it's just drawing one card, but we need the Detect Intrusion in the graveyard, and... Oh, boy. Let's decline. Let's put these two cards in the bin. I think I'm not going to get... Well, I'm sitting here saying the Detect Intrusion is not going to do much for me. But they might... You know what? This deck might have a Wrath of God. I wouldn't put it past this type of deck. Not Wrath of God. Day of Judgment, rather. So we'll do this. Disaster. We can still Detect Intrusion, bounce our Hearth Elemental back. Just another weapon manufacturing. Okay. And a Perilous Snare, which I suppose... is fine to use the Detect Intrusion on. I guess, yeah. I don't know. I wonder what their game plan is for getting rid of all of these tokens, the munitions. Nothing good, I'm assuming. All right, from this spot, I think I'm okay going Hearth Elemental, and then flashing in the Eddie Merc Crab, trying to make something happen from this. Johnny cannot kill anything in our deck, so Johnny's just going to be sitting here making 1/1s, which we can get rid of with the Sunderflock. It's nice that the opponent is taking a wee bit of damage to help us out ever so slightly. A Tezzeret. What does Tezzeret mean? They definitely have to be careful with these Eddie Merc Crabs coming down the pipeline. We can do a lot of sneaky stuff with this these flash creatures. And a Legion Extruder. Okay, so, I mean, they have just so much cool stuff going on. They're putting it on the Elemental, which I'm a little bit surprised about. Does that mean that they have a way of removing some of these munitions? Or do they have like a Lightning Strike? But they only have 1 mana available. I'm not sure why putting the damage on the Elemental is the best thing. They're going to show me, though. Dusk Rose Reliquary. Okay. This time they put the damage on my face. They take... Maybe they thought the Ajani could do 4 damage to the Hearth Elemental. Oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. They're going to take, of course, so many triggers. They take our Hearth Elemental. Not great news. This Tezzeret now. Whew. That's a big old boy. I love what the opponent's doing. When you run into cool stuff like this, this is why I want the power level of Standard to come down a little bit. Because if you remove those oppressively strong decks like the Badger Mole Cub, like your Lessons, although Lessons hasn't been seeing too much play, I guess, these days. It still feels kind of too powerful. If you remove some of these decks, then other decks get more room to breathe. And that just leads to a healthier overall game for people. Like, people can have more fun playing. Well, we can't really get in for much. We need a good draw here, and that's not a great draw. It's not bad though. So they're gonna take something. They're gonna take one of these with this Dusk Rose Reliquary. If I attack in, they're gonna block, so we're only gonna get 4 damage in. I can't kill the Tezzeret. So this at least lets me draw some cards. Maybe I find... Wow, not great. I'll just decline. It was draw 2. It was just a draw 2 spell. Do I go face or do I go for these creatures? I honestly, or planeswalkers, I don't really know. It's so bad. I think I have to put 4 damage on the opponent's dome though. We do have the Eddymer Crab that we can maybe flash in. The thing is, they're going to take my crab with the Reliquary, and I can't do anything about that. Hitting 2 islands on the ill-timed explosion. Not my best work. And I guess, you know what? No, we're really in trouble now, because what they can do, well, okay, they can just use double Rose Reliquary to take out both our creatures. What they could have also done is blown up one of the munitions, use the Ajani to kill one of the tapped other creatures. So it's 2 damage plus 3 damage, but they're just going to use 2 Reliquaries to take both of these creatures and then make more chump blockers. We're going to try to run them out of... Reliquaries, though. They are down to just 1 more in the deck. I'm sure they have the full 4 of them, and Tezzeret can go and get the other one. So, yeah, bad news. Oh, you know this is bad. When you start getting arrows on the board, they have so many artifacts that the game needs to isolate them. Whew. Okay, they're on the start making constructs plan, which is fine because we do have the Sunderflock. I have to imagine that they're going to use this Reliquary to take out the other Hearth Elemental. They have to do that, right? But they might be thinking that they can just chump block it with the 1/1. No. Okay, there we go. Okay, now if they attack in with the 2 1/1s because they think they have the road clear, then that'll be... Actually, I don't want to hit auto pass. That might be okay for us. Then we can maybe flash in the Eddymer Crab, tap down the 3/3, and then get in a little bit more damage. But I'm not too hopeful for this matchup. I think this is really cool. We need them to attack in with the... Oh, that's bad news. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. It sucks big time. It's fine, though. We can still bounce things. We're taking damage. Maybe I should have tried to conserve my life total, knowing that I was going to put in the Eddymer Crab and probably the Sunderflock next turn to bounce everything. You know what? Let's do the ill-timed explosion this time around, too. Just to draw a few more cards. Maybe we get lucky. Ooh. Oh, bad. Decline. It's actually kind of good, though. So, again, we're kind of in this weird spot where at the end of turn now, because we put them down to 5, they desperately need to get rid of both of these creatures, and we have the Eddymer Crab and the Sunderflock on the following turn that we can put onto the field. Man, if we had drawn a land instead of all creatures, we would have been in such better shape. They might just be able to kill us, though. If they're able to sacrifice all these 6 munitions that they have sitting here, surely they have a way of wiping the entire board. Like, I don't think you build a Boros artifact deck like this without having some way of just sweeping all of these away. They go and grab that. Okay. The thing is, they have to deal with both, and they can. They use the Dusk Rose, sack of munitions, put the 2 damage on the Eddymer, use the Ajani, deal 4 damage to the Eddy Merc, but they're not going that way. So this Sunderflock could potentially sneak out a win by the opponent thinking that they can just build a board of chump blockers, and the Eddy Merc Crab could have the clear pathway to go in. I think they really needed to remove the crab, seeing that it's 5 damage and they're at 5 life. Oh, if they use this, level it up. Please level it up. Whoa, +2/+2 to tokens. Opponent, that's cool. Come on, level it up. Whoa, they level it up. They're down to 1 mana. I'm down. I didn't realize that I'm down to 7 life. Do we get the cheeky win? Oh my god, it's so sneaky. There was no reason to win this one. We edged them out just wow. I feel like I stole that one. Woo. I'm so satisfied with myself after that game. The opponent's deck was awesome, but the Sunderflock, you cannot ignore how powerful Sunderflock is. I'm going to try this hand, and we're going to pray that it's a Badger Mole Cub deck. If it's a Badger Mole Cub deck, it's not. Uh-oh. Yeah, we grabbed the Hearth Elemental. I think we have 3 lands. It's fine. Maybe I should have held up the Spell Snare there. Okay. We don't get punished for foolishly putting that onto the field. Do I need more blue or red mana in this deck? Blue. I need more blue, I believe, because Sunderflock is double blue and Eddy Merc Crab is also double blue. Everything else is not a concern. Okay. Well, let's see a 2 CMC thing. Come on, opponent. What are you up to over there? We got ourselves a weird standoff. If you show me yours, I'll show you mine. Come on, opponent. Hey, that's good. That is good. I don't know if I should have put this out on... I think I should have put that on red. Okay, keep passing. They missed their land. They are on Demir. What? Opponent, what? Okay, they have to discard something. This could give us some information. Okay. Am I just putting out a Hearth Elemental for 5 mana? I think that's what I'm doing here. What am I doing with my life? I don't want to discard something. I think it's fine. Well, again, weirdness. I have to imagine they have like a Bitter Triumph or something. 3 steps ahead. They decide not to counter the Hearth Elemental, instead let it resolve. Is this a mill deck? Pack Soul, are you playing mill? And missing land drops playing mill? Is that what's happening here? Is this a deadly cover-up? It's a Shoot the Sheriff. Okay. Yeah, our Elemental's a little bit soft to Shoot the Sheriff, I suppose. Oh, I really wish you were a land. You know what? Let's fire off the... Oh, it's so bad. I'm going to need to discard cards anyways, right? All right. Let's move to end step. Let's put some stuff into the graveyard. We'll get rid of the Seer. We'll get rid of the Spell Snare. I don't think Spell Snare is getting a whole lot of value in this matchup. Wishclaw Talisman. I say that right when I needed it the most. There's no way you allow an opponent to resolve a Wishclaw Talisman. That means they are up to no good. Final game here. Looking like it's going to be a grindy one. Winter Night Stories. Draw 3 cards. Give me some lands. Come on, deck. For the love of goodness gracious. We're throwing away the Burst Lightnings. And I think I'm holding up the Detect Intrusion and the Abandoned Attachments just in case a disaster happens here. I really don't know what to expect from the opponent, though. We will try Abandoned Attachments. Sure. Sure. We are not drawing overly well here, to say the least. Do I want to run out both of these Hearth Elementals? Okay, at least we find some action. Let's get rid of the Burst Lightning. Let's get rid of the Spire Bluff Canal and put this onto the field untapped because I think my life doesn't matter in this matchup. I have no idea what the opponent is trying to kill me with, but we now have the Eddie Merc Crab that we can flash in. We have the Detect Intrusion, Unauthorized Exit. Sure. Man, I am very confused. We're definitely going to put out the Eddie Merc. And I think I'm going to fight over it. If they try to counter it, I'll fight for it. Tap down nothing. Maybe they just have flat removal. They are down to 4 cards. They... yeah, okay. Let's try to swing in. They don't have a creature land. They do have a... Oh! This could be the Kavaro Excruciator deck. Now that I see the Risen Reef, that's what my brain is telling me. I'm going to put the Hearth Elemental onto the field. We still have one other Detect Intrusion in the deck. I kind of want to have both Detect Intrusions in hand. So this Opt maybe needs to do a little bit of heavy lifting if things go really badly. We do have this to stop the first board wipe. There it is. Do I want to bounce my boy? Yeah, why not? Just in case they counter it, at least I have the Eddie Merc in hand. Yeah, that was smart. That was good. I think that was good. Let's do the Opt now. Because why not? Ooh, yes, please. So we lose our Hearth Elemental, but then we can flash in. We can flash this in. Now, this is the big moment. Where is our other Detect Intrusion? I think it's still in the deck. So these Winter Night Stories, I think, need to find me the other one because we could just die to the opponent milling us out. Come on, Detect Intrusion. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Ill-timed Explosion is useless. Island, useless. We put that onto the field. We swing in. We hit them for 5. And now we are all in on... That sucks, right? Okay. They gifted me a fish. They didn't have to give me a fish. Why did they give me a fish? That actually might be bad news for them. That might kill them. Okay. Detect Intrusion on the River Churn Monument. I know what you're up to, opponent. Oh, it's an activated ability. It's not a triggered ability. GG, opponent. So there was nothing I could have done about it. Triggered ability. We learned something at the end. Let's, no, all right. Well, we'll just, I was going to put out a bunch of Eddie Merc crabs, but there's no reason to do that. Good game. Don't mind losing to mill. They were mill. They were not the Excruciator deck. They were just straight up mill. And yeah, learning more things about the Detect Intrusion. I really thought I could counter this, but it's an artifact. It was just getting through no matter what. I needed the smell snares. I threw away the spell snare. Oh. All right, so Spellementals proving itself to be a pretty good deck, going 5-2 as a complete noob with the deck, barely knowing what some of the cards do, forgetting that Detect Intrusion cannot stop the River Churn Monument. A very unfortunate ending there, but I think I did all that I could really do in that matchup, and then learning what Ill-Timed Explosion actually does, probably gives you a couple of percentage points greater value when you're playing this deck. But otherwise, you know what? It's great. There's a lot in here. The elementals are enough, probably. I wish there were just like 1 or 2 more, but 12 is going to be good enough. And now the deck is very heavily targeted towards beating up on creature decks. These 4 cards are all wanting to go after creatures. Burst Lightning, kinda. It can serve multiple purposes, but certainly kind of fits in this group. So when you run into people playing a lot of control or whatever, yeah, it's a different type of matchup. You have to switch your mindset. But the thing is, because we have so much draw discard, we can cycle through our deck. We can find the tools that we need, get rid of the seers, get rid of the pyroclasms when we don't need them, and keep them when we do need them. And that's a pretty cool little thing that this deck has going on for it. Overall, I think it's a very cool deck. Unfortunately, you know what? It's not too expensive as far as the budget goes. I believe everything else is common or uncommon here. I always kind of like doing these days. Lands are lands. If you want to play Izzet, you have your Izzet lands, whatever. I'm not going to talk about that too much. I would say that Sunderflock is a must craft. Obviously, it's the heart of the deck. And then Winter Night Stories, I think, is worth crafting for this deck. If you wanted to run something else over Detect Intrusion, just a regular counter spell or something like that, I think it's probably fine for budgetary concerns. And then Ill-Timed Explosion, yeah, it's worth having, I think. So actually, the cost of this deck is not too bad if you have the lands. So that's a nice little thing. Anyways, let me know what you think about this Spellementals deck. And also, I appreciate... I'm sure some creators get pretty annoyed when people come in and they start typing in, actually, you should have done this at 9 minutes, 13 seconds, or you missed lethal here and there. This boy, I got a lot of skin. And it's pretty thick. So I do appreciate you guys pointing out things. In one of my more recent videos, I forgot that Aang couldn't bounce enchantments, so that's a good little thing to remember. I recently learned that when you plot a spell that has X in its mana cost, that the opponent cannot pay X when they cast it out from the plotted zone from exile. You know, these little things are nice to have pointed out to me, so I do appreciate all the comments. I am learning. We're all learning playing this game and trying to figure out how to navigate these decks in one of the most complicated games ever conceived. So please do point out all the misplays. I do appreciate each and every one of them. And yeah, it is the way it's gonna be. That's it for this one. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Sarang ipana, and bye-bye.